Donald and Douglas are twins and had arrived from Scotland to help the Fat Controller, but only one engine was to be expected. The twins meant well, but did cause confusion. The Fat Controller had given them numbers, Donald 9 and Douglas 10. Both of these guys are also two of my favorite characters in the show and are some of the most memorable. They're so memorable that not only did they appear in CGI, but also are going to appear in All Engines Go. Donald has only been confirmed by this Trackmaster toy, but you know what? Most likely both will appear. Donald and Douglas both have great stories to their name. The Fat Controller needed a new goods engine, so he ordered Donald. To his surprise, two engines arrived instead. Both Donald and Douglas lied to Topham, saying their numbers slipped off on the way and no one could tell them apart. Topham threatened the two that he would find the fake and send them home. Then, both twins decided to put 110% into their work so that Topham would keep both of them, but this plan immediately goes south because Douglas accidentally shunted Thomas's special coach into a siding. Both twins decided to switch tenders so the Fat Controller wouldn't send Douglas away, but this plan is immediately shut down.
Douglas, he rapped. Why are you masquerading with Donald's tender?
Donald has an incident with a signal box, Douglas had a run-in, literally, with a brake van, then all the other engines decide that Percy will be their deputation. He tells the Fat Controller that if the twins are sent away, they'll be turned into scrap. This plan works.
Does this mean that the both of us? Sir Topham Hatt smiled. It means... But the rest of his speech was drowned in a delighted chorus of cheers and whistles. The twins were here to stay.
Duck's crew played a trick on Donald by putting a duck into his water tank after Donald teased him. Douglas had an adventure of his own by delivering a train on part of the island where the diesels only worked and finds an engine escaping from scrap with their brake van. He decides to help them, and the engine, whose name is Oliver, is now a part of the railway. They have a bad day at Castle Lock. Get it? Because that's the episode's name. And then didn't appear again until season 11 in Gordon and the Engineer. And they actually served a pretty big purpose in that episode. Last time their models were shown was in Save You from season 12. And this episode not only had the twins, but also had Duck in it. That's cool. You know what's not cool? They have 22 seconds of screen time in this episode. In my opinion, it wasn't until the CGI series when things changed. They made their reappearance in Lost Treasure, which was actually pretty neat, but when it came to their actual episodes that centered around them, well, I mean... While they only have 2 episodes in this era, both have problems. I was originally going to pick Love Me Tender for this video, but on rewatch, I've come to the conclusion that it isn't as bad as I thought it was. Not saying it's good, but it's kinda just Twin Trouble, but worse. Emily in the Middle, on the other hand, this episode makes me hate the twins, so enough rambling, let's get into why Emily in the Middle is the worst Donald and Douglas episode. The episode starts with both twins arriving at Brendam Docks to pick up a special shipment of steel. Salty pulls up with one last flatbed, and Douglas says it's too much to pull even for 2 engines. Donald disagrees, saying that they can both pull the train without bother. Douglas says that the train is still too much for the both of them. Both start having a mini argument, and the camera pans over to Thomas. Thomas spots Emily puffing in and asks her why she's at Brendam. Emily states that she's there to help the twins out with the train. And I'll admit, this scene was kind of funny.
What do you mean?
They can't agree with each other, let alone another engine.
Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine, Thomas.
Donald, being coupled up to the train, tells Douglas to get to the back, and Porter puffs up and tells them that they're blocking the line. Okay, but like, isn't that kind of Salty's fault? He did shunt the train from what it looks like, and it's obviously covering up a way to get into the sidings, so... I don't know. Anyways, Emily puffs up and tells the twins that the train needs an extra engine. Donald teases Douglas, saying that he and Emily will have to do it on their own without Douglas, and Douglas finally wants to push the train. He couples up behind Emily and the train sets off.
About time.
Douglas thanks Emily for helping push the train, and Emily says it's no problem, but she accidentally calls Douglas Donald. Douglas, probably joking around, says that Donald's the difficult one. Emily laughs, and somehow her laugh travels through the pipes and Donald hears it. Douglas then starts telling Emily a bunch of stories about Donald, and he's not very happy about it. The train suddenly stops, and Douglas questions what's going on. Donald yells back, saying he won't go further. Douglas and Emily can't hear him, so Donald reverses back onto the other line and says he wants to swap places.
I want to swap
places.
I wouldn't have much of a problem with this if Donald wasn't acting like an infant in the process. Both twins start reversing so they can swap places, but apparently Douglas's driver must have an IQ of 2 and didn't notice Toby on the same line. He gets diverted onto a siding and crashes into a hill of snow. Donald now swap tracks with Douglas, apologizes to Toby, but I guess it all worked out because the snow on his face makes him look like Santa. Donald, being a complete idiot, stopped his train at the end of a junction and almost caused Gordon to crash headfirst into the train. Donald asks Emily what he and Douglas were talking about. Not that he's
I'm
bothered. Emily, probably not wanting Donald to get mad, tells him that Douglas was telling stories about the both of them. Donald then tells Emily a story that involves Douglas, and her laugh again travels through every flatbed somehow leading Douglas to hear it. Douglas then halts the train on Gordon's Hill and says he wants to swap places again. And then, wait, how did he get on the other line so fast? Donald then puffs backwards with Douglas arguing, leaving Emily to be the only one holding the train. Both Donald and Douglas start arguing while poor Emily can't hold the train on her own, and how did he turn around? Then they start biffing each other back and forth as Emily loses control and starts going back down the hill. Douglas biffs Donald again, causing a piece of coal to fly out from his tender and roll down the hill. I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore. I can't deal with this level of brain rot. I can't do it anymore, man. I can't process this anymore. That one singular piece of coal somehow turns into a gigantic snowball heading right towards Emily. Now, I don't have the intelligence of Stephen Hawking. Yes, that's probably not the best example. But what I'm trying to say is I might not be the smartest, but I'm pretty sure a tiny piece of coal like that can't turn into a giant snowball in a matter of 12 seconds. How about I don't know, we're sorry? You guys literally caused her to derail. Can we get the apology, pretty please? Anyways, Emily finally snaps at them, and now they feel bad. She then gets put back onto the tracks, and a couple engines pass by. The only notable one is Toby still having that snow mustache. That was kind of funny. Then Donald and Douglas have a great discovery. See what I did there? And realize that they messed up. Then all three deliver the train to Vickerstown, and the spawn of Satan asks how Emily was with Donald and Douglas. The twins realize that none of this would have happened if they were both at the back, but start arguing again, which admittedly was kind of funny.
Then,
Aye, that's that.
that's what I said.
So did I.
I said it first, though.
No, I said it first.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. I said it first.
And yeah, that's the episode.
That's it?
Alright, now it's time to do the overall bit. What? I didn't put that in my script.
Oh, joyous day. I wonder what I'm going to be reviewing. Oh, okay. Oh, why is there breaking news on my fucking computer for YouTube? Okay, I wonder, it's this, this... I feel like I've seen this once. It can't be that bad. Oh, man, they didn't destroy it.
This episode is hot ass!
I really don't understand why the writers of this episode decided to make Donald Douglas the exact same as Bill and Ben. And I think they're just basing it, like, right off of Twin Trouble. Because after Twin Trouble, they did the exact same story plot for Buffer Bother, but with some minor changes. One of the parts that I do like was when, after the narrator announced that Donald Douglas left, Crank was like, finally. I love that bit. That was honestly pretty funny. Does this mean that Cranky is self-aware? New Thomas theory coming soon. Also, how did Donald manage to switch around so quickly to fight with Douglas on the hill? Is logic gone? Is the logic here just... I don't like this episode now. I hate this. Not to mention, every time the twin wants to switch with the other, they're jealous because one is making fun of the other in front of a girl. This is kind of sketchy, and I feel like Thomas Deviant artists are going to enjoy this. Do not get idea! Also, why were they just carrying a bunch of pipes all the way to Vickerstown? And why would they schedule Donald and Douglas, of all engines, to just pull a basic train? Because we all see them both carrying mixed cargo, and now it's just bland. You know what, season 13 and season 13 to like season 15, they did better with Consis. They fucked over the Consis, guys. I will say though, I do like the music in this. I do like the Christmassy score made in the episode. It was kind of hard, but Bill and Ben should just make this a Bill and Ben episode, not gonna lie, guys. So yeah, that's basically my little ramble. This is just a Twin Trouble, but CGI-ified. Honestly, Love Me Tender was kind of better than this. Now where the fuck is my $20? Also, you should totally subscribe to me, cause I can make beautiful content. No, not really. I'm very dead inside today, guys.
And this is Crank's Drop Tower. You know Crank. If you know the show, you know Crank the Crane.
And it's got some bubbles. How cute is that?